Welcome everyone to the Walk with Faith podcast. It's me, Molly Faith, and Dani. Hi, Dani,
Hi.
the
Hello.
Raven. I love your name. Um, so can you introduce a little bit about yourself to the viewers, please?
Yes, hi. My name is Danitza. I go by Dani, and I am an 8-year veteran. I was in the Navy for 8 years of service, and I eventually separated to pursue illustration work. So I put myself through college and did a 4-year degree program, and I got my bachelor's degree in fine arts with
Thank you. Thank
you
you
go
for
ahead.
your service. I want to
Oh,
first
thank you.
say thank you, Dani. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you for your support. Yeah, it was a big part of my life, and so it was a big change to do that, and then switch over to just being an artist. It was such a wonderful, switch. But yeah.
So what made you decide to go into the Navy?
Whew. Well, this is where the story starts, if I may. Well, I had a very rough childhood. Trigger warning because I will be talking about sexual traumas. So as a child, I went through multiple counts of. I always get emotional when I recount stories, but bear with me, please. The first time was at 4 years old, and I didn't know what that meant. So I never really spoke about it until, unfortunately, it happened again when, due to uh, domestic violence between my parents, my mom moved us from California to Georgia to move in with family. And so we stayed with an uncle, her brother, and life there was not very good. My aunt was a very mean woman. She would often babysit other people's children, and there was particularly one little boy who she made sit on the floor and eat like a pet, and he would just sit in his mess, all day long. And my mom just did not like us being around somebody so nasty like that. And this poor child, hopefully he's doing well, but I mean, we were young. We were about 5, 6 years old. My siblings are about a year and 2 years older than me. So, anyway, my mom, as a way to find a place for us to live on our own, she got help from her father, my grandfather, and that's the next abuser for me. Um, and the abuse happened for about a year or two. I don't quite remember how long. Our brain protects us.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
And so there was. Sorry, go ahead.
That's better. My headphones, I wanted to make sure I could hear you okay.
Okay. Is my audio acting funny again?
I don't know if it's your audio or if it's mine. There, I can hear almost a frequency, which is very
Okay.
interesting. As you're talking, I can hear like a frequency coming through. Um, and it's like the first time I've ever heard that. And when we recorded prior. There was like in and outs of your story. So this is a very important story. Like your journey is very important to get out because now and it went away. So I was hearing a very interesting frequency coming through. And so that's why I was switching my earbuds to see if it was if it was the headphones. I don't know what that was. So
Hmm.
I know.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting.
isn't it?
Hmm.
So
Yep.
keep going, please, Danny. Yeah.
I
So,
feel I feel Michael right now. He's like very close.
yeah, I know. I love him so much.
Yes.
He's been coming through a lot. And it's funny you mentioned him. Yeah, he's been coming through heavy. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, our mind does try to block. those memories.
Yes, very much. There was a moment where I just felt that I couldn't take it anymore, and by now it was like I was like 7 or 8 years old. I don't remember. Um, and I remember that day I was walking with my mom and my two older brothers to the near a grocery store that was really close to us, and I just started crying. And my mom, she would often get upset if she saw tears in anyone. She was very strict. So rather than being nurturing and saying like, "Honey, what's wrong?" she would just yell at me, and she asked like, "Why are you crying?" And I told her. I told her what was happening, and she didn't say anything else. We went to the store like nothing happened, and the whole time I'm just in tears. So I didn't understand why the cold shoulder, so to speak. Why did she act that way?
Right.
And and then we went to the store. So about an hour later, when we got back home, she just confronted her father. She asked him, "Is this true?" And he said no. And all she told him was, "I don't want you near her and stay away from her." And she just asked him to go to bed. And so it was a one-bedroom apartment. And so my brothers and I, we had our own bunk beds. I would sleep on the top, and both of them slept in the bottom. And my mom had her own bed. And then her father slept outside in the living room with an inflatable bed. And so she just asked him to go to bed. And she told me to stop crying and to go to bed. And I did. And I cried myself to sleep. And that same night that I had told her about the abuse, I I remember waking up and I saw the red glow of her clock, her alarm clock, and everything happened so fast. I just remember seeing the red flash. I felt the cover slipping from my body, and I screamed. And my mom ran to the lights. She saw that he was already halfway up the
Gosh.
the bunk bed, and I just kept saying over and over and over again, "I told you, I told you I wasn't lying."
Right. Yeah.
And she uh she just asked him to go back to bed. He told me to stop crying and for me to go back to bed. And that was that. And I just remember at that point, in that moment, I just felt this. I was like, sorry, I'm getting emotional.
No, it's okay, Dani.
that was the that was the moment that I just felt this fire that I had never experienced in my youth. That was the first time that I remember feeling that fire in my soul, and I just remember thinking, love isn't enough. And I grew up thinking my mom didn't love me. So I grew up very angry. And the abuse stopped after that day. But I just remember thinking, the one person that I trusted, that I thought would fiercely protect me, she failed me. And I grew up quite mad. And any time that I tried bringing it up and just trying to see where she was coming from, she would tell me to shut up and not talk about it anymore because it's in the past and that it's not happening anymore. So why hash it out or rehash it out? And that just, I grew up very angry. I grew up very angry. And I never really showed it outwardly. I never disrespected my mom. I was always because she was very militant. I grew up very militant in the way I expressed myself. And I just promised myself in my own mind and my own body that I would never let somebody make me feel that way ever again. And So, I just kept with my duty, my chores, and everything that she had me do. I had to be kind of a second parent to my youngest sibling. We're about 10 years apart. And so every day she would go to work around 2 p.m. I would come home from school and take care of him. And I mean, I think he was born, and I think 3 months later is when I had to take care of him. And so from 10 years old, as a 10-year-old, all the way till I was 18, I took care of my little brother. And I didn't resent that. I just never had that independence as a child to do the things that children do.
Exactly.
So, and I still, I mean, I didn't have any outlet to speak to like a therapist or something about my traumas. It was just all very, I was like, here, be an adult. And I got thrown in. And so that was very hard for me. And my mom she was a very hard lady to me. She expected a lot of excellence with grades and everything. And she wasn't like that with my brothers. I'm not sure, it could be a cultural thing, but yeah, it was just always very like micromanaged almost. And so yeah, I just grew very angry of everything that I had to go through. It was very hard. So that little fire that I had felt as a child that grew to like this torch, and I could not wait to just find my own independence. And so that's why the military. And I knew that I didn't have money for college. I could never ask my mom for anything else. I mean, she already was working really hard to put food on the table, a roof over our heads. I understood that part in our dynamics. I understood. I always gave that much respect to her struggle as well. And so yeah, that vow that I told myself that I would never let anyone make me feel that way, that included myself. I held myself to a higher standard. And so I had a sibling who would talk about the military, and he said he wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I
Okay.
looked up to him. So I really wanted to share in that bond. And so there was a recruiter that came into the school, and they talked to us for a little bit. There was probably only like 15 people that sat around this recruiter and was speaking to us. There was 15 students. And eventually, out of those 15, I was the one that ended up actually talking to him. And so that was very cool. But what led up to me actually like, I'm done playing around. I'm gonna do this. The last, what is that saying, that the straw that broke the camel's back?
Camel's back. Yeah.
um, Before my graduation, before I actually signed my contract, I had dropped out of high school because I ran away from home.
No.
And what caused that was my mom she was an alcoholic. She had a drinking problem. And I just remember bits and pieces. Sometimes it comes back to me because again, right, our minds protect us. She she would drink often, and she would talk about all of these traumas that she went through as a child all the way up to her adulthood. But I didn't remember that until much later in my life. But anyway, she had this problem with drinking, and so there was one night where I was just on my phone, the little keyboard phones.
Yeah.
She and we shared a room, and my oldest siblings shared their own room. We were living on our own. Her father was out of the picture by this point. Um, I was about 17 years old, and anyway, so I was in my bed, and my bed was next to her bed, and a dresser was in between our beds. And so she came in, and she was stumbling. And in my mind, I thought, oh, here we go. Here's one of her talks. She's just going to cry. And I just felt so much resentment because she would often talk to us about a lot of things that she went through, but I never had an outlet to talk about what I went through.
Right.
And so I knew what was about to happen, but I didn't really. She came in, and the first thing she said was, "You're an abomination.
Oh my
I
God.
should have," and she said, "I should have aborted you."
Oh my gosh,
Molly,
Dani, I'm so sorry.
that was the hardest thing that I think I've ever had to hear. Sorry. That made me so incredibly sad, but I saw that she was stumbling, and so I said, Mom, maybe you should go to bed and we can talk tomorrow. And she just looked at me. I think there was a moment where I saw that she had remorse in her eyes, but anger, the anger just came out, and her eyes, it's just like every ounce of soul that I saw in them for that split second was gone.
Hmm.
And you okay?
Yeah, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Re Retelling stories, I mean, it brings up a lot of emotion, but yeah, I'm okay. I've processed a lot already. So I
Yeah.
just remember, what I felt in those moments. A lot of fear, anger, and so yeah, so she was saying all of these things to me, and I kept trying to tell her to please just go to sleep, and we would, talk in the morning, and she didn't listen, and she just wanted to actually hit me. And somehow none of the hits were actually like touching me. So she grabbed her shoe and she flung it at me, um, because she knew that her own hands weren't getting her nowhere. So we're getting her nowhere. So she actually wanted to just hit me with something. And I was able to dodge that. And then before she could grab her other shoe, I grabbed her wrist and I pulled her towards her bed and I just pinned her down and I said, "Stop it, please, please." And she was just crying and she was just telling me that I was a mistake and that I shouldn't be alive. And that just broke me. And she just kept saying, I hate you, over and over and over again. And I knew she wasn't going to stop. So I was holding her down on her bed and I jumped over her. I ran out of the door and I hid behind the bathroom door in the hallway. And Molly, I heard her running after me, like sprinting as fast as she could to the front of the house. And I ran back to the room. I locked the door. I grabbed a bag. I threw some stuff in there. I jumped out of the window, and it wasn't that far from the ground. But I jumped out of the window and I ran. And I heard her yelling at my brothers as if I did something to her. And I ran and ran about maybe a quarter of a mile to half a mile to my we had a relative living about that close, about that distance. And the whole time I kept hiding every so often because anytime I saw a car, it was the middle of the night. Every time I saw a car, I thought that was her. And I mean, I'm like covered in leaves and dirt, and I'm like, I don't care. I just want to get to this person's house. And by the time I got there, uh, one of their parents opened the door, and I just started crying. I couldn't say anything. And they just let me in, and I lived with them for about a month. They let me live there for about a month. They were prepared to let me live there forever if I needed to, but um, for that month, I was able to just try my best to pull myself together. And so I dropped out of high school thinking, I need to get a job and fend for myself. I didn't want to depend on the kindness of their generosity already. I didn't want to take advantage of these people. And so, again, with that vow that I would never let somebody make me feel the way she did again. And so I thought, okay, well, I can always just get my GED. I'll be fine. And eventually, after a while, I returned to high school because my principal talked to me. And it was like a detachment from the bigger high school. So it was like this more a more like small setting, so you can catch up on work that you've missed. They call it they called it middle college. So it was like you can get college credits, but finish high school.
Okay.
And so yeah, so I went, and eventually I started talking to my brothers. They had told me that my mom had said that because she had bruises, I guess, on her wrist, and she told them that I had been abusive to her, and that I was just out of control. Yeah, there was just so much hurt at home. I
So
don't know. Sorry.
where, sorry to interrupt you. Where was your mom when you were staying with the family? Did she know where you were?
She knew, but she uh she just yeah she came to visit one time, and she saw a bottle, like an alcohol bottle, and she just started cussing at me and telling me that, oh, this is what you're doing, like, you're just wasting your life. And she just continued her very toxic ways, and so that I knew that I couldn't go back.
Right.
And yeah, I just asked these two parents of my friend if they could just keep her away from me. I just couldn't see her, and they honored that. They were very protective, and they were very kind. Eventually, after a while, I returned home, um, and she acted like nothing had happened. But by then, our relationship was very, yeah. I think we both knew that it was pretty much over. Like I didn't really want to have a relationship with her anymore. And I still tried. I mean, again, I was never disrespectful towards her. I knew that she had gone through a lot, but it's like, you know, keep your eyes down, nose clean, and finish high school so you can leave. And so when we had this meeting with this recruiter, I remember telling my brother, like, I'm going to do it. I'm really going to do it. And I guess she got wind of it, and she told me, you're not going to do it. This is just another one of your tantrums. This is a phase. And in my mind, I thought, okay, bet.
Okay.
I'm gonna just watch me. I just let her say what she needed to, and I remember there was a day where I came back from a meeting that I had had with my recruiter, and I had the biggest smile on my face, and I walked through the door, and my brother had brought me back from my meeting, and so he went to his room, and then she saw me, and she said, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with your face?" And and I said, "I signed my contract. I'm leaving July." That was only 2 weeks after my graduation. She didn't say anything. She just walked to the bathroom, locked herself in there for about half an hour, and I could hear her crying. So even then, it still broke my heart that I hurt her in some way. But I knew that it was for me and nobody else. And so yeah, that's
That's
how I
very
joined the
brave.
military.
Very brave. Very courageous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you still
So
talk? Do you still talk to your mother, or have you talked with her?
I did for a time, but there were so many moments where she still reverted back to her alcoholism. Sometimes at work, I remember, I think there was one time where she called me and she was just belligerent. And she didn't even know what she was saying on the phone. And I just hung up on her. The next time that she called, she apologized. And I said, Mom, I understand, but you need to get yourself some help. I don't want to talk to you like that. And, I ended the conversation, and it wasn't until much later that that we talked again. But there were moments where, because she had my youngest sibling with her, she was in Mexico at this point. Um, I didn't want him to struggle. I didn't want both of them to struggle financially, but I didn't want him to like struggle because I remember how that felt not having like things as a child that you see all your peers having. And so I would send them most of my paycheck. I would pay my car note. I was already in the military, but I would pay my car note, all my bills that needed to get paid, and then I would send them most of the rest. There were times where I would even go hungry if because you can eat on base. You have the galley that's open for like, in the morning for breakfast and then for lunch and then dinner. But there were times in between where I was working and so I couldn't meet those times. I remember there was this day where I was so hungry, I didn't make it to dinner and I didn't have money to eat anything. And I remember calling my brother who lives in Washington, and he had ordered me a pizza all the way from Georgia.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I always struggled with this relationship I had with my mom, and in my videos, I don't say mom, I say parent because I never want to make it about her. I know now that she is a very wounded individual, and I know now that she couldn't have helped me, unfortunately, because she couldn't help herself. So I've allowed myself to forgive her and find that grace for her. I hope she's healing.
When's the last time that you talked to your mother?
Um, I think maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. And while I was in the service, I think I was 20, 20 or 21. That was when my last abuse happened. Um, I had a small get together with some co-workers because some of us had made rank, so we kind of leveled up in rank, and so we were hanging out, having a few drinks, and we were all friends, like genuinely. I thought they were my friends, and there's a person who offered to walk me to my room because I was tired and I just wanted to go to bed, and he took advantage of that, and yeah, so all these people that I feel like I have trusted, that I thought I could trust, just it developed a really weird relationship for me with other people. Like, it's been really hard for me to trust again because of that. So I've been in and out of therapy since I was 18, and yeah, it's been very difficult. But nothing had really been helping me because I had been misdiagnosed, I think, twice. So first it was just depression, not major depression. It was just depression, and then the next one was, oh, maybe you just have bipolar disorder, which I don't. It's I got the correct diagnosis through the VA, which was maybe about 2 years ago, of borderline personality disorder, and that happens due to childhood traumas.
Right.
And so anyway, because I hadn't had a stable relationship with other people, myself, it's like my self-esteem was on the floor. I didn't know what a healthy relationship felt like. But I had met the person that I ended up marrying when I was 23. We dated for about 9 months and then we got married. And I knew that there were plenty of red flags for me that I didn't want to accept, but I thought in my brokenness that I will probably never find somebody that could love me like this person showed me. I didn't know what real love felt like. So I thought, well, anything better than what my mom did or what I could do for myself is okay. That's good love. And I think after, you know, this might sound really horrible, but I knew the moment this person asked me to marry them that I didn't want to because I saw things that I shouldn't have just let slide, but I accepted
Yeah.
because my spirit was broken. So I thought maybe this is it for me.
Right.
And I think after the first year of being together, I like in my heart and my spirit, I knew that I wanted a divorce. But for me, it was difficult because I had made a promise to God, and I thought I don't want to break that. The only sacred union that I've ever known in my life is with God, and I couldn't break that. So I stayed, and every year I just felt like my spirit was just dying. And there were so many, I think almost every year, eventually every day, I truly believe that the greatest mercy I could have received was to not be here anymore.
I'm glad that you're
Yeah,
here. I'm glad that you're here. Thank God you're here. You're a
thank you.
blessing. You're welcome. You're welcome. And you're perfect the way you are. You are loved. God doesn't make mistakes. You have a purpose. You're supposed to be here. You know that.
I do. I do. And it's, through all of these things that I went through and this relationship or lack thereof, one that really just, it's like whatever ounce of fire that I still had in me, it was like dying. I just felt so lost. And I wanted to move to Georgia from California, which is where we lived, to Georgia. I wanted to go there because I wanted to get away from this person and just have my own space. And I thought, okay, I will go to my sibling's house and I will stay there until I can file for divorce. And this person said, okay, well, at the very least, let me help you get there. I shouldn't have accepted that because then they ended up staying. They continued to make promises that they never kept.
Yeah.
The mental abuse continued. And there were times where, I mean, I'll take full responsibility for this. I would get so angry. It's just like that. This person knew how to push my buttons so much.
Mhm.
He knew my triggers. And I feel honestly that he knew how to use them against me to look insane in front of my family. And when I talked to my eldest brother, he would just tell me to work it out. It's like I wash my hands clean. I don't want anything to do with this. And it just, excuse my language, that really just pissed me off because I thought my mom wasn't there for me. My own family is not there for me. The person that I married is not there for me. If anything, they're the ones that are really destructive for my spirit, my soul, and I got so fed up of all this crap. Excuse my language. And
No, you're okay.
I one day I just lost it. I was like, you know what? I've had enough. I remember going to the bathroom and I'm in tears and I'm like, please, God, please. I beg of you, just save me. Please, I will do anything you ask. And all I kept hearing was, pack your car, pack your stuff,
Yeah.
drive. And I kept hearing that, and I kept hearing that. And I started doing it. I started packing my stuff, and then this person was like, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "No, I have to go." And they were getting very upset with me. They kept trying to stop me. They kept saying like, "Oh, well, I'm tired, and I don't want to go." And I'm like, "I'm not asking you to. This is for me." Like I said, I was leaving. If you block the door, that is a crime. You cannot stop me from leaving. And they tried every manipulative tactic to get me to stay, like they always had every year for 9 years.
Wow.
And I just kept hearing, whenever doubt sank into my heart, it's like that voice got louder. Pack your stuff,
And go.
pack your car, drive.
Right.
And I think it was maybe like one or two in the morning when I actually had my car packed completely. And this person was still complaining that they didn't want to go. And I said, "You're not supposed to go. This isn't about you." And I got in my car and I drove. And Molly, when I got to the main road, I felt like I could breathe again. It was like an exhale of freedom.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I actually heard this voice so clearly. And I knew this entity that I felt sitting next to me in my car. I talk about Michael a lot because that is who it is. That's who
Yeah.
my guardian angel is. And when I went to basic training, through basic training, I had a time period of leave to go home and then come back and finish the rest of my training before I actually started my military service. And so there was a moment when I went home. I had a friend of mine who took me to Helen, Georgia to just have fun, and enjoy my leave time. And I had seen a tarot reader and a psychic, and it was supposed to be for fun, and it was entertaining, and so, but I hadn't been fully, I wasn't embracing my spiritual side because I grew up Catholic, and I still had so much traumas to deal with. I didn't really give it too much mind, but before I left this little shop, uh, the reader stopped me and she said, "Hey, I want you to have this." And she handed me a card, and it was the prayer of Saint Michael, the archangel.
I just got goosebumps.
And I took it, I thanked her, and when I got out, I walked out of the door, and I just remember looking to my side, and because that's the presence I've always felt, I said, "That's who you are." And I kept that in my wallet, and that's where I had tattooed the sigil of Michael. I mean, ever since then, I've always felt so close to him. And it wasn't until fast forward to that moment in the car where I thought, "Thank you. Thank you for magnifying my father's voice." And yeah, I mean, it's just been crazy. I was in my car and I was thinking, I don't have enough money for gas. I don't have enough money for food. I don't have enough money for anything. But I just felt the calmness wash over me, and I just kept hearing, "You're safe. You're okay. You're safe. You're okay."
It made me cry.
Um, and yeah, the whole way. I mean, yes, this person was still in tow. He had his own vehicle, but I was in my car, and it was a sanctuary.
With
All of a
my,
sudden, with Michael, yeah, and I was in my car, in my space, with my stuff, and I knew that no matter where the road led me, I was going to be okay. And I mean, I also knew that I would have to go to this person's parents' house for a little while until I could get my own place. But even knowing that, I still just kept hearing, you're going to be safe. You're going to be fine. And it's almost like whatever doubts I had were just gone. I was like, I just felt freedom. And um, I, uh, I did have to stay with them when we got to California. We made it. Even with the money that I thought I didn't have, the resources that I
Made
didn't
it.
have, we made it. And thank goodness. And I stayed with them for about a week and a half. And during this week and a half, I was looking for apartments, places that maybe I could afford. And so I was so worried because I didn't have that much money to be able to do this. And my credit score was on the floor, like it wasn't great. But there was a moment where again, these moments where I knew that I was channeling. I know that now, but I didn't know then.
Hmm.
And I just kept hearing, ask for that loan, ask for that loan. And I went online and I looked for a company where I could do an application for a loan, and I got approved. And so I thought, okay, well, I got the finances. Like, where am I going to live? And in my heart, I just felt Oregon, Oregon, Oregon. That's close to my brother who lives in Washington, who I'm the closest to. Relationship wise, I'm very close to him. He was the one that introduced me to the military world. And
Awesome.
um, so I just kept hearing Oregon, and I knew that I had to stay close to California because I knew I would have to file for divorce eventually. So it was like a good in between. It was good for me. I wanted to be closer to rain. For me, rain is very healing. And yeah, so I got online. I was looking for apartments, and there's a name that I've always loved, and it's from one of my favorite shows, and it's Wyatt. And when I saw the name of the building, I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
I knew it. I just knew it. And it was like one of the first ones that came up. I applied, and there were holdups. I made sure to call every single day to make sure, like, okay, well, what's the holdup now? Okay, what's the holdup now? And eventually I got approved.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so then I got here, and I mean, I had all of these boxes that I had to unpack. I was exhausted. I mean, I have back injuries, and because of my military service, and so I have like all of these things, and so I mean, I was physically exhausted, and I knew at this moment that I was alone, and I was in fear of what's next, of how am I going to make it to next month? How am I going to pay for things? And this is the moment where I had told you, like I fell on my knees. I'm like, Father, I don't know what I'm doing. And it was like complete surrender. I said, please, please work on me because I need your help. And I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. You're good, Dani. I know it's not just going to be me, but it's going to be other people who can feel you and relate to what you're saying. Maybe not identical, but very similar in the feeling. So no, it's okay, love. It's okay.
Thank you. It's, it's like reliving all of these moments is what's like pulling at my spirit because I feel it. I'm like watching myself like in a movie.
Yeah.
And I feel for that person because that was me at some point. And I'm still learning how to build that person up. And so that was my moment of complete and total surrender because I knew that it wasn't by accident that I had gotten to that moment of of safety. Everything that had been hurting my spirit was behind me, and I knew that, but I thought that please, like, I don't want to continue being on my own. And I was thanking God, and I was telling him, please just stay in my life. Please stay. Please don't leave me. And and after a while of just crying, I had a good cry, and then I just started unpacking. I put a video on YouTube and I just let it play. I had my headphones on, and I'm walking my around my apartment and I'm setting things up and I'm unboxing things and I'm exhausted. It's late at night and I am exhausted. And I remember hearing the video that I had been playing. It was ending. So I'm walking back to my phone and I started hearing these funny voices, people with like accents, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny." And that was the first time I laughed.
Um,
And in my heart, I knew that that was God working through me, through these people that I saw, and I was scrolling through their stuff, and they just made me laugh, and they brought that levity that I hadn't felt, and I felt years,
right.
and um, so I just feel like God has always really been there for me, and then it wasn't until I paid attention that I realized just how much, and He was sending me signs and people that were it was like very apparent to me at that moment
And you
that I had,
asked, and you
yeah,
asked.
I did. And
Hmm.
that's what that was, that quote, right? That we were saying.
Ask and you shall receive. Yeah.
Yes. Seek
Ask,
and you will
you shall.
find.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
so I hear that almost every day.
Hmm.
And it's funny because I made my own like little oracle cards sometimes, especially if maybe I feel very unsettled in my spirit and somehow maybe meditation isn't helping. And so I'll just pull them out
Hmm.
and I'll just ask, can you please just talk to me? If I just feel like I'm not connecting, or maybe I'm not hearing things clearly, and I'll shuffle the cards, and then that card comes out every single time
Yeah.
without fail.
Right.
I think it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
There's many ways of getting confirmation. It just depends on what your spirit is telling you at that moment
yeah,
where you're being guided. I
yeah,
think that's
exactly,
incredible. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, and it wasn't until I think it was let's see here. Yeah, so when I saw these creators, which I was saying that I believe that God sent them my way because they helped to bring that levity into my spirit, that like laughter that I had been missing. And they actually taught a language course that I went through for about 6 weeks. And it gave me something to do, something to get me out of my head. And um, and eventually I started attending some of their lives that they did in the mornings, and just doing that created a schedule for me because it was something I looked forward to. And so I would put my alarm and I would wake up every single day at the same time. And eventually my body just, excuse me, my circadian rhythm started kind of like taking over, and I would even wake up 2 hours earlier.
Mhm.
So in that time, I would make it a point to work out, to make sure that I strengthen my body so that I could get off of pain medication and not depend on pharmaceuticals to make me feel better. Please don't feel bad if you have to do that. This is just for me. That's something I had to do because the medicine was making me feel funny, and I
I
never liked that feeling.
I can relate to that. Absolutely. So, yeah, for people, don't feel bad because it's a part of that journey. I was in that really bad car accident where they cut through my throat and I had to do
Yeah.
surgery and then my SI joint. And I was on pain medications too, and I didn't like the way it made me feel. It was very destructive. And so, yeah, I had to I ended up recovering from that, thank God, and getting off pain medication because I remember telling God and my ex at the time, I said, I'd rather be in pain than be on medication. And God answered my prayer by helping me recover. And I also started getting what was called radio frequency ablations,
Yeah.
where have you heard of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not fun. Those are really painful to
Oh,
get, but it so what it does is it basically like electrocutes like the nerve. Um, so you're not feeling that pain anymore without having to take any medication. It's a pretty heavy duty procedure that they do. What's so interesting though is through this journey, Danny, and I haven't had to have one for maybe 5 years or longer
wow. It's
or
incredible,
even
Molly.
longer.
Wow.
Yeah. And I couldn't walk. That's how much pain I was in. So I can totally understand. Yeah. But for people who have to, no, don't feel,
Yeah, please.
yeah, bad or anything. Yeah. It just depends on the person. Yeah.
I'm I'm glad you're doing much better. That's incredible. I have been seeing a pain management doctor in my 20s who I was doing corticosteroid injections until I could get approved for radio frequency. And by the time I
Okay.
did, he went private and I couldn't afford it.
Oh, no.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I stayed on the medication.
Yeah.
I didn't have any other way, and there were times where I also felt like I couldn't walk because the pain was just too intense.
Exactly. Exactly.
And when I was in Georgia, I got 3 sets. So I got, I think it was every 3 months I was getting epidurals
I know what
to,
those are too.
I'm so sorry.
No, I know what those are not fun either. Yeah. I
So
can.
I did that. Yeah. And
Did they work
unfortunately,
for you? Did the
no.
epidurals? They didn't work for me either.
Wow. Yeah, they didn't. And so when I got to this apartment, I always say that in my videos too, when I got to this apartment, because Molly, I promise you, this is where my life changed. And it wasn't just the distance of the people that had been very hurtful to my spirit and my heart. It's like, I talked about this in one of my videos too about a sanctuary. Because when I got here, it's almost like everything got so clear and the fog was lifted. And everything that had once kept me at a certain level in my headspace and my spirit and my heart, it was like anything that was false was just gone. I was able to work on myself, work on my fitness so that I can better support my structure, my spine. And yes, I'm still in pain every day, but it's more manageable, and I'm not taking anything for it. And I'm in my right headspace. I don't feel fuzzy. I don't feel disconnected from people, places, things. Like I just feel like I'm present. And that has been so healing for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Mm,
wonderful, Danny.
thank you. Very
You're
proud of
welcome.
myself.
Yeah, as you should be. Huge
Yeah.
accomplishments.
I've been through a lot, man.
Yeah. And you've come very far.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
So,
it's been a
so what,
while.
so when was, if you don't mind me asking real quickly, how long has it been since you had to talk to your ex
So
husband?
I, yeah, so I didn't, I did, we weren't speaking. I didn't speak to this person for about 6 months.
Okay.
And I've had to recently just for things like taxes and whatnot. But there has come a moment where this person apologized for how much pain they inflicted because they've seen my videos.
Oh, they did see your videos.
Yeah. And I didn't feel that I needed to hear that. But, I mean, I think life just has a way. And I think God makes it a point to find that retribution for,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know, his children. So, um, I apologize for the times where I wasn't okay because to me that's taking responsibility for my side. So it's like
Absolutely.
there are times where I said hurtful things, where maybe I spoke out of turn, or maybe I said things that were really hurtful, and I understand that. So I think that was the closure that we both needed, and I'm like I let it go. I let it go. I've already established my boundaries. I've said, this is where I stand. I'm not looking back. I thank you for saying what you have to say, and I hope that you take to heart that I really am sorry as well.
Right.
And yeah, just move on. We're moving on.
That's incredible, though, that he apologized to you.
Yeah,
That takes a lot.
yeah.
Wow. And you set your boundaries and you're standing firm on that. That was probably I think that'd be a very healing moment for you to close out that cycle, that chapter.
I want to say yes, but at the same time, because of the consistent mental abuse that I went through with this person, there were a lot of times where I heard the same things. They're like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And that's how I would stay in that like endless loop. And
Got
so
it.
for me, I just kept hearing, Michael tell me like, sever that cord, radical severance,
That's right.
just, you know,
So,
accept it, let it go.
so that I'm sorry didn't really hold much weight because of the I'm sorries that you heard before from this
I w
person.
Right. I wish it did, but I mean, if I'm completely honest, it didn't
Right.
because I had been there and I'm telling you, like, I just kept hearing, like, my guardian angel just let it go. All right. Accept it, forgive, let it go,
And release it.
and
Exactly.
release it.
Sets you
And,
free.
yes. So, I think it's good that we both said our piece, but, yeah,
Okay.
no, new beginnings
New
of
beginnings.
us. Yes.
Don't look back. New
No,
beginnings for
no, not
everyone.
at all.
That's what we want.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so you're talking about you're an artist. What are you doing now, Dani?
So I was doing illustration work, like digital illustration work, and I love doing that. But in my spirit, I really want to connect the videos that I make about healing journey and also my spiritual journey, excuse me, with my artwork. And so I've been really into painting, like oil painting. And so I
Awesome.
really maybe want to somehow, I don't know yet, somehow combine them. And we'll see. I don't
That's
know yet.
amazing. That's amazing. I love
Thank you.
that.
I
Yeah.
do I do keep getting that again with my oracle deck cards. I have this one card that says paint the heavens,
There
paint the
you
heavens.
go.
So I'm like,
Okay.
oh, okay. I'm like, okay. Yes.
Maybe that's your first project is painting your vision of or whatever Michael and God come through and tell you, the Holy Spirit tells you what the heaven should look like in your vision.
I've seen it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Danny, that's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like a project that I'm gonna be working on.
Awesome. Okay, well, I would love to purchase artwork. Can you do custom paintings as well? Are
I can
you?
try. I'm so shy. I'm so
So
sad.
So if I eventually, when I can, because there many, many years ago, I had visions of certain pieces of artwork that had to do with my spiritual journey or like my guardian angel or what I wanted to represent, what I felt in my heart and my spirit, but I just haven't been able to. So hopefully as time goes on, that would be amazing to work with you and see if you would do that. I could hire you to commission paintings, you know?
Yeah, I would love that. And actually, I mean, you might not go for this, but I honestly, I feel like I owe you a lot, Molly,
You don't owe me anything, Danny. You don't owe me anything.
because you don't know how healing your presence has been in my life. I would want to do that just to do that for you. So I just want you to know that my spirit really, truly loves your
I
spirit.
love you too. I love you too, Danny. I love you too. Oh
You're
my
so
God, you're making me
special.
cry.
Sorry.
You don't owe me anything. I adore you. I love you. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
When, sorry.
Mm.
I'm pretty level. It must be the Taurus in me that's pretty level, but and I know we were talking about this before, but
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, please.
Oh, wow.
You hold so much space for a lot of people, Molly. You deserve the same. I hope you know that.
It's such a good cry, though. It's such a beautiful cry. But it may not, like, I don't know how to explain it because it may not, some people may not understand. But when I see you, when I saw you the other night and I shared your thing on Instagram and I see other people, how we've come together, I'm getting so emotional. Like all of us coming out of Hermit and you guys speaking your truth with such power and authenticity and with the love that you have. I'm so sorry. I literally thanked God that night and I was in tears with him because I was so happy and so proud of you to have your voice and to be heard and to be seen because I know how hard it is when people want to keep us quiet and they don't. And it's like to feel that pain and to feel that freedom of being your true self and shining brightly and sharing and having that love and support of Michael, of your guardian angel, of God, and just getting out there. And when I saw you, I was so happy, Danny. I was so happy, and I'm seeing all of you do it, and it's just the most, you don't know me anything. That feeling is the greatest gift and the greatest feeling. And I mean that with all of my heart, all of my soul, all of my spirit. And I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so proud of you. That's all I need. I love you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hope you know
Welcome.
how loved you are.
I do. And I'm grateful. I mean that every time I say it to you guys, even if it drives you a little crazy. I'm like, I love you guys. I don't care. I'm going to keep saying it because I do.
Yeah, don't ever be
Thank
sorry.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just keep
Mm.
telling you because you are loved. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we were brought together at this point in our journeys. We're all led together.
Well, me
Thank
too.
you for your kindness and your love and your support too. I'm so sorry, everyone. I just started crying.
No, please don't be. I've
Oh,
I like to leave this comment on a lot of people's posts that show vulnerability because I think it's such a special thing as well for people to speak about their heart, their spirit, their life, and to cry or to just shed tears of joy, sadness, sorrow, whatever kind of tears you're shedding. That is our humanity. And it's a beautiful thing. And I think really feeling what we need to feel is also a very healing thing. And it doesn't
very.
matter if it's tears of joy. There's a part of you that resonates with the message, and you're just letting your light shine. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you. I think that we hold space for each other, and our
Mm.
community does, which makes it a bit easier for us to show that vulnerability, which is so beautiful. It's a gift. That in itself is a miracle, is a blessing, and
Yes.
it's cherished. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for holding space for me, Danny, and everyone,
Oh,
and for Danny.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I love interacting with people as well that I've met through you and your videos and your readings, like Nancy. And I just got Jeff on Instagram, or like added
Awesome.
me, and yeah, it's just so nice. And I hope that anybody and everyone that wants to add me on Instagram, please do. I love talking to you guys.
That's so
It's
great. Joe is
building
on there.
community.
Joseph's on there. Um, who else? I'll connect you with some people. Everyone, yeah. So Danny's
Yeah.
on there. Everyone connect. Yeah.
I think just building community of people that share in the same lightness and the same love and the same type of, and it's not to say in the same mindset, right? It's we all have our own
All different.
individualistic ways, but just when I connect with everyone, there's just so much light. All I see is just light, and it's like almost blinding. And I'm like looking at my light right now, and it's like, wow, it's so bright.
It's beautiful though. It's
Yeah, it is.
beautiful. Because out of that darkness, here we come.
Exactly. Little magical torches of light.
I like that. That's,
Cute.
yes, we are. Yes, we are. Oh my gosh. Yeah, everyone is just amazing. I'm so glad you're getting in contact with everyone. You know who just messaged me right before we got on is Mariah, that bundle of light from the last podcast. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's just, yeah. And what's so incredible is, yeah, with everything that she shared, everything she's gone through, she's still this torch of light. Like, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But we are all different, and that's what I love even more is we all are different, but we're all just the same and so connected and so full of love for each other. It's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, I think it's just wonderful. And I truly have never had that,
I know.
which is why I just think it's so special. And yeah, I'm very grateful that I'm here in this space and this mindset of just keep going and I'm like seated and rooted in love and I haven't had that.
And you deserve that. That's your birthright. That's who you
Thank
are.
you.
That's who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You deserve that love. You deserve that support and that community, your family that loves you and connected by spirit, by source.
Yeah. And I think that that's another thing that has really like helped me propel myself forward. And during times where maybe I'm not feeling my best, is surrounding myself with people that are uplifting, that don't allow that
Right.
negativity to sink into my spirit again, because I just will not allow that. I
Danny,
can't.
do you see how, gosh, they are so loud. How everything is connected. Crazy. Okay, so today, do you remember Sharon? I did the podcast with Sharon Hess.
Yes.
She's amazing. So she teaches a course in miracles. And I had to do some healing work with her this morning. and it was amazing. But I had a conversation with her because as empaths or light workers, we feel the need. Like we're genuinely really want to shine a light on things, but we also want to love people. Like we want to love. Um, but not everybody, um, what we put out, not everybody will receive. And if they don't get what they want, a lot of times there's projection or backlash.
Yes.
And she said, Molly, that's okay. She said, so we did prayers together, we did releases together, and she was so sweet. But she said, you have every right. She said, Molly, you have every right to pick and choose who you want in your energy, where you want to put your energy, and where you put your time. She said, because time really is an illusion, yes, but there's only so much time here on this planet that we're living in a day. There really is, and where you put your energy. She said, and if somebody doesn't like it, that's their decision. But when you set those firm boundaries or healthy boundaries, that's good, as you should, because we don't sacrifice ourselves at our own detriment.
Yeah. No.
We don't love and give at our own, and we don't sacrifice ourselves. No, that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have boundaries. Um, but it was pretty amazing how she was like, you need to surround yourself and make that decision to surround yourself with people who uplift you, who feed your energy and receive your energy, get fed. You guys feed each other, all of that. Maybe not exactly those words, but it was so similar. And it's just empowering one another. That's who you surround yourself with energetically. Not the people, like you just said, Dani, who will drain that, deplete you, feed negativity into your, you know, download that. So you don't want to download and process that into your nervous system, into you.
Yeah.
No, you want the love. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
exactly.
it's amazing you're bringing that up. We're recording right now, and I just had that with her today. Because she's a beautiful bright light. She's a powerful spirit. She's amazing. So
Awesome.
you
Wow.
should get in contact with her. I'll give you her website, but yeah, that
Thank
would
you.
be a good contact for you. Yeah,
Thank you, sharing this.
you're welcome. Yeah. So, yeah, but
Wow.
you're right, Dani, to surround yourself with those people, and that does, it'll get you through some really challenging moments. Um,
Yeah.
and there's going to be people in our energy that we still love. It doesn't mean that we don't love them, but we can love them from afar. Because if they're operating in a negative manner, we can still send love energetically and say, I love you, but I don't want you in this region right now, in this existence. But I release you with love. I love you. I send you love, under grace. But that doesn't feel good for my spirit. I want to be with things that feel good for my spirit.
Yes, exactly. Sorry,
Yeah,
my camera just died, so my image is
that's okay. That's okay.
no, but exactly, yes, I completely understand that. And I
Oh,
said that earlier because I mean, it's been hard for me to honor that within my own spirit to like, okay, this isn't feeling good, even though this person that maybe I don't know them, but something is just not feeling right. So I don't want
right.
that in my energy field. And so, and then I'll just hear like Michael come in. It's just like radical severance. And he's very militant, that one. So
But
it's
he's so right. And
yeah,
he's absolutely correct. Because if we don't heed, I'm hearing heed. I don't normally say that, so I don't know who's coming through with that one. Maybe that is Michael. If we don't
Michael.
heed, yeah, if we don't heed those, right? I
Yeah,
wish I could see your face right now. If we
I
don't
know.
heed those warnings, if we don't listen, then what's going to happen is we will come into contact with those people and something more serious could occur. We could get sick. We could feel depleted. There could be many things that affect us on a cellular level. Um, Yeah. And also I feel like the energy that we give off can do strange things to people that are not prepared for it as well.
Oh, I've seen it. Yes,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
completely agree.
So it's important to surround yourself with people who are very similar yet different. I suppose we
Yes.
could put it. Yeah. So, um, so Danny, any guidance or knowledge from your experiences that you would like to share with everybody?
Hmm. I would just say, and I've had a while to think about this because I hear it within my own system a lot, is honor who you are, honor your path, and have that integrity within yourself, um, to do what's right for you. You know how people say, do the right thing even when no one's watching or no one's looking?
Absolutely.
Do that within your own self, your own system, your own mind, your own heart. Oftentimes we get so caught up with being the right person for everyone else, but seldom do we think, what do I need? And then by the time we think about it, it's like it's too late. I'm exhausted. I don't feel good. Like, what's happening? So
No,
I
that's
would just,
right.
yeah,
That's right, because it's very important that you honor yourself. We don't want to abandon ourselves to please other people. We have to be true to who we are. We have nothing to prove to anyone, but be that good person, know who you are through, and know that all your intentions, you strive to be that good person, to the best version of yourself, and continue on that path, you know?
yeah,
So,
exactly.
because other people may not see things the way that you see them on your journey. And so they're going to be judgmental. And really, it's not for them to judge. It's for what feels good to you and you know who you are. Love yourself. And I took away what you were saying because I agree with you so passionately. I'm like, dang, Danny, you're good.
No, thank you. Yeah, there's been a lot of growth within my own system, but
It's amazing.
thank you. I didn't know how to honor that for myself because I was just too busy with, excuse me, all these demons in my life,
Mhm.
that I would often abandon myself. And I think that was like self-pacifying behavior, right? It's like I don't feel good, but if I help somebody, that's going to help me feel better. And then it might make you feel better for a little while until that feeling is gone, and then you're chasing the next thing. But when you find that love within yourself, you don't need to do that. It's like God's number one. Then it's like, okay, well, how do you take care of yourself as well?
I love what you're saying right now. It is so huge. Wow. That's
Sorry.
massive. I love it because it's not out there. It's in here,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And not the outside validation. You're whole within yourself. Um, and your love and who you are is not conditional. It's not based on what you can do for others. You're beautiful the way you are. Everyone is.
Well, yes, thank you. But yes, I agree.
Hmm.
It's like
I love that you're saying that. Yeah.
we have to learn how to nourish that within ourselves because I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I feel like if something helped me feel better about myself or my position in life when my position in life was not the greatest, it's like you chase all of these external things to help validate who you are, but it's like you're chasing who you actually are in other things, other people. You're just
Right.
chasing yourself.
Yeah. So you're chasing after yourself now, which is good. Find going inward, not
Yes.
chasing the external.
Oh no.
Because it's like validating it. We need that our own love and validation and God's love, not anything else. I love that, Danny, so much. That's so powerful.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm
have
not
to,
gonna.
I'll put there you are. Yay, there's Danny.
My
Okay.
webcam, I had to hook it up.
Okay. So, um, So how can people find you?
So I have Instagram at Dani Lavalette, uh, and I I have a Snapchat, but I only use that with my brother. I don't really interact with other people through that. But really, Instagram, I think, is like the primary place if you'd like to get in contact with me. Or I also have Telegram. I have a link tree on my Instagram. If you'd like to check that out.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's um, I'm very shy, but I definitely like love finding community and like meeting people, and especially the people that I've met through you, Molly, and your videos and your lives. And I just think it's such a wonderful community, and I feel very grateful to have met you.
I'm grateful to have met you too, Danny. Everyone.
Yeah,
Very grateful. So,
thank you.
you're my sister, my soul sister.
Thank you. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
welcome.
You guys are very special to me.
Yeah, me too. So we're all very blessed. Definitely.
Yeah.
Um, all right, guys. Well, this was Beautiful Danny's podcast. Thank you so much, Danny, for sharing all of this. I'm so excited to get it out so people can see your journey. Um,
Thank you. Yes.
you're welcome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you. Saying good night, and we pray that you're always surrounded by the Most High God's love, protection, and blessings. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
Danny.
Bye, Mom.